What's up, guys? Today we are going to be reacting to I designed 10 new Eeveelutions. Now, I believe this video was released like a year ago, so it's nothing new, but I saw it after I saw the uh, last video. It was like a Fakemon, somebody drawing like fake Pokemon type of video. This popped up on my on the on the sidebar, and I was interested. So we're gonna see what kind of designs this creator created.
Eevee. This little guy might not look like much to you, but this Pokemon is a fan favorite in the community because it is one of the only Pokemon that can evolve into multiple different types. When Eevee was first introduced in Generation 1, it only had 3 evolutions it could evolve into. A water type called Vaporeon, a lightning type called Jolteon, and a fire type called Flareon. But in Generation 2, 2 more evolutions were added.
Now, out of these 3 evolutions,
it only had 3 evolutions it could evolve into.
Out of these 3, Vaporeon was my favorite. Out of these 3, big Vaporeon fan. Flareon close second, Jolteon third. Out of these 3, again.
A water type called Vaporeon. 2 more evolutions were added. Espeon, a psychic type.
Espeon! Let's go! Sorry, this is my favorite. Espeon is my favorite. Hold on. We need the introduction again.
Flareon. But in Generation 2, 2 more evolutions were added. Espeon, a psychic type.
Bro, this is best evolution there is. I don't care about Umbreon. I don't care about the other 3 that were just mentioned. I don't care about Sylveon, nor Glaceon, nor Leafeon. None of them. They don't compare to Espeon.
And Umbreon, a dark type. And then in Generation 6, another evolution was added. The fairy type evolution, Sylveon. But that...
Wow, that's crazy. He literally...
6, another...
He really just glanced over Glaceon and Leafeon. That's how forgettable they are. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like them, because I do. I do love Glaceon and Leafeon. And out of them two, if I were to pick one, I'm going to be honest, I'd probably pick Leafeon. But they're just kind of the more forgettable ones. Sylveon, as he mentions here,
fairy type evolution.
Fairy type looks amazing. Not as good as Espeon, but you know, Espeon and Umbreon are kind of like the Superman and Batman. You know the relation between Superman and Batman and how people are very divided between the two. I feel like a lot of people like Umbreon more, but there are Espeon fans. And me personally, I am an Espeon fan. A lot of people, at least a lot of the people that I have seen, prefer Umbreon. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm an Espeon boy, so.
Sylveon. But that was 10 years ago, and another evolution hasn't been introduced since.
Yeah.
Fans have constantly been speculating about when and what the next evolution will be, because there are still 10 Pokemon types that don't have an evolution. So today, I'm going to be designing evolutions for every single type that doesn't have one.
Oh,
without further ado, let's get started.
Wow, 10 new evolutions. That's kind of a handful, but...
First up is the fighting type evolution. Now, fighting type Pokemon are known for, well, being good at fighting.
Yeah.
They're one of the only types of Pokemon that use physical attacks. Like all of the fighting type Pokemon moves are like punch or kick or body slam or something like that.
Yeah.
When I was designing this evolution, I wanted to design it so it looked like it could fight, but not that it could use any kind of special powers or anything. One idea I really wanted to incorporate in this design specifically is I wanted to give this evolution a bunch of scars all over it to show off that it's been in a bunch of battles. So I actually ended up including that idea in the final design. I think the scars look really cool and they add to the fighting type. You know, I obviously wanted this design to look like it could roughhouse and fight and stuff. So
I've also seen other Fakemon
made it a little
for
bit rougher.
Fakemon for a fighting type evolution. They would add a lot of bandages or a cut ear like this, or the scars as he's mentioning. I've seen from the Fakemon that I've seen, the fan art, or not fan art, but others trying to come up with what a fighting type evolution would look like. It's mainly the scars, the bandages, the being looking rough.
Also extended its tail to make it more like sword-like is kind of what I was going for. So it could like potentially use it in a battle as like a weapon. I kept kind of like the brown colors of Eevee because I think that kind of color suits the fighting type. I don't know, maybe it could have been like gray or like red or something.
Nah, I think
like
brown
red
works.
Is too much of like a fire type color.
Yeah,
So
brown works.
I also gave it this cool like white pattern down its like belly and legs and stuff, and I really like how that turned out. So yeah, let's take a look at the final design.
I like these animations.
This is Thrashion, the fighting type evolution.
Thrashion. Ooh, and the tail has like a spiky that way, sitting back view. Dang, this guy really literally designed an evolution, and he's gonna be doing that for all of them. Dang. Okay, I mean, the dedication. I can just clap to that. Side view, sleeping, that's cute. Sitting back view, fighting stance. Honestly, I dig this. I dig this a lot. And the eyes and just the overall what it looks like. It's kind of like if Eevee grew up in an abusive like environment all its life and it just became Thrashion. That's how Eevee evolves into Thrashion, by being abused most of its life.
This Pokemon has seen countless battles and will never back down from a fight. So yeah, I love how this design turned out. I think it really captures
it looks really nice.
Like the fighting type essence in an evolution. I love the scars. I think it makes it look so cool. And yeah, overall, I just think this evolution design looks really cool.
Yeah.
Next up is the bug type evolution.
Ooh.
Now, I really wanted to base this evolution off of like an actual bug, which, most bug types are based off bugs. That's why it's called the bug type. But yeah, I was searching for a while for like a specific bug to base this evolution off of. At first I was like, maybe I should base it off like a bumblebee or a wasp or something. And I tried that out. I think they look cool.
Bro, I don't know if this could be a hot take, but if Pokemon ever decided to make a bug type evolution, it could, depending on how hard they cook, because just based off of this sketch alone right here that he's making, he's absolutely cooking right now. If Game Freak ever decided to make a bug type evolution, hot take, it could be better than Sylveon. I'll say it. It could be better than Sylveon, because Sylveon is kind of like the, pinnacle of cuteness and like fairy whatever, right? But if they really dug deep in their bag and cooked for a bug type evolution, just like how this guy's doing, it could look way better than Sylveon, or it could take over. It could take over like how popular Sylveon is, and instead kind of bring it to this a bug type.
Things like basing it off an ant, I didn't like that. It just didn't feel Eevee enough. I did try basing it off a butterfly, and I think that looked really cool.
Yeah.
But then I found like this really fluffy, cute moth thing, and I was like, oh my god, that's like Eevee. Eevee's cute and fluffy, and this is a bug which is also cute and fluffy. So I ended up basing this evolution design off of this big, cute, fluffy moth. And yeah, so that's what this evolution is based on. I gave it this big, fluffy exterior. It's got big, fluffy legs. And I kind of gave it these like little moth talon claws things. I don't know what moth legs are, so that's what I gave it. I also gave it these giant moth wings. And instead of where its ears are, I replaced them with like these moth antenna thing. I don't know if that's what they're called. I think they're like antenna. But yeah, that's instead of like having regular Eevee ears, I want it to look more.
It looks great,
buggish and mothy. So I gave it those things, and yeah, let's see how it turned out. This is Flareon, the bug type evolution.
Wow, Flareon. That's the wings on top, wings like underneath. That's what it looks like flying, sitting. Side view, the face, bro. This guy's absolutely cooking. I know this is only the second evolution he showed. He is cooking. Like these are probably the better designs that I've seen. And it's not just like he did the design itself, but the face, like different like angles, like sitting or flying, and the details for the wings and stuff, like actually giving the details, not just making a evolution just because. No, actual other details and stuff is so cool to see. And see, this is what I'm talking about. If Game Freak were to make a bug type evolution, they would go this route, and that's why I say that it might be better than the Sylveon, um, or like might be more popular based on how they design the bug type evolution. They're gonna use a butterfly or a moth like this. However, obviously, with this person designing it like this looks amazing. But I think, the way Game Freak might do it, if if they want it to be really popular, they will design it to be pretty detailed and cute, just like Sylveon. Because realistically, nobody really likes bug types. I don't know not one person who likes bug type Pokemon. So it's kind of one of those types that are like, it's like a secondary type, and it's kind of like a, not many people really mess with it that much. And so if you're gonna have a popular Pokemon, evolve to a not so very popular typing, then you need to make it look, good. And especially nowadays, where it's been it's been over like 8 years since the last evolution, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, if they ever choose to make a evolution and it so happens to be a bug type, then they should take notes off of this person's design. But yeah.
Pokemon have a strange tendency to be attracted to bright lights. You might have noticed, but that Dex entry is a reference to like how moths are attracted to like bright lights and stuff. And yeah, overall, I think this design
looks nice.
Is really cute. I'm really happy with like basing it off of that fluffy moth. I think it fits Eevee.
Oh yeah, something else I wanted to mention. Again, if Game Freak were to make a design like this, they'd probably make it like a light pinkish, I would say. Maybe a little bit more greenish, or again, depending on what they go with, either a moth or like a butterfly. Might go with the orange. But yeah, I think it could be really cool if they choose to do that, design a bug type evolution
like really well, and it's also like a really unique kind of bug type thing to do. So yeah, on to the next one. Next up is the Dragon type evolution.
Ooh.
Now, the Dragon type is a really...
Dragon type Pokemon are my favorite type of Pokemon, so I will be judging this design very, very harshly. I love Dragon types, like my favorite, and if this design does not look good, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna critique it. All right. I'm not a professional artist or anything, but
I really want to
I love Dragon type, so
this
is right down my lane.
Evolution design. So I ended up basing this evolution design off of like an Eastern Dragon because I think they're really cool. And yeah, so like the main aspects of an Eastern Dragon is like it's really long. It's got this long tail. They've usually got these like weird horns. I could only like describe them as like reindeer kind of horns. So I had to add those. They always have like these long manes that go all the way down its back, and also like this, I don't know what, these like yellow chest scales, I guess is what you could call them. So I added those into this evolution design. I also gave it these like dragon-like talons and like the back of its feet. I tried to change the shape of it, give it an extra claw to make it more like dragon-like and reptilian. And yeah, originally I was gonna make this Pokemon like red because that's like the color of dragons, but I kind of didn't want it to feel like a fire type because red dragon, that does kind of sound like a fire type Pokemon. So I ended up changing it to turquoise, which I really think as a color like represents the dragon type a bit better.
Interesting
so here
change.
Is Comodion, the dragon type evolution.
First of all, Comodion, love the name. I absolutely love the name. Sitting back view, nice. Front claws, back claws, lying down, face. Alright, I love it. Like, I love the design because it's very cute. Um, However, as a dragon type Pokemon, I see again. He was explaining, why he did what, how he designed the things and why he did them and stuff like that. This one probably, in my opinion, probably the weaker design. Not really much of a big fan of this one. Although I do like the mane, like the fur or whatever that's on the back. I like that design. I don't like the antlers. Like, I mean, there are a lot of dragon species, like fictional dragon species out there and stuff. So it can be hard to try and use one as a reference or as a help to try and design a character like this or a Pokemon like this. But I don't know. I just feel like there could have been other kind of dragon species that he could have used instead of this type of dragon. But again, it's what he chose. So I would say this is the weaker design. Not
This
a huge
Pokemon
fan of this
loves
one.
to collect shiny objects and tends to keep a hoard.
The color though, I really like the color and the eye, like the eye color and everything. I just think that as a dragon type, like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna make it a dragon type, it has to look kind of menacing. It has to look edgy or dark or like, like not. I don't want to say scary because it's an evolution, but kind of like a like an Umbreon where it's like dark and maybe mysterious. And as a dragon type, it should look menacing and like ready to fight, like Thrashion, like the fighting type that he designed. I feel like it should have that vibe. But honestly, this dragon type, it just gives me the vibe of like Sylveon, to be honest with you. Like, it's just cute and just not necessarily like menacing or a real dragon, to be honest.
Of them. So yeah, that Dex entry is obviously a reference to like a dragon's hoard and how Western dragons, are known to keep like these giant treasuries and hoards of gold and stuff. And yeah, I think this design turned out really cute, really cool. I love dragons, and I think I incorporated that love for dragons really well into this evolution design.
Agree to disagree.
Up next is the flying type evolution. Now, originally I was thinking of basing this evolution off like a bird or a sparrow or something. I think those ideas were cool. I did come up with some other ideas as well, like making it get these giant, like holographic wings or something. I thought that was a bit over the top. I did come up with this idea of like, instead of it having regular Eevee ears, the ears were like wings. And I also gave it wings on top of those ear wings, and that ended up having like a biblically accurate angel kind of look to it. So then I gave it another pair of wings, so this Eevee's got the wings on its ears.
I absolutely love this.
A regular pair of wings and an extra set of wings, so it's got like, oh my god, and it's tail wings. I
love this so much.
I might have overdone it, but it is a flying type. It's meant to
this
fly.
is amazing.
This one can definitely fly with all those wings. But yeah, obviously it was
I
inspired
love
by like
this
a biblically
design.
accurate angel with all those wings.
Now, if y'all don't know, I am a sucker for angels. I love like biblically accurate angels and like the designs and anything angel related. I'm gonna like it. But this Pokemon, like this design for a flying type evolution, I love it. The ears are like the wings. It's gonna have 4 wings. The tail's gonna have wings on it. It's a flying type. What do you expect? I love it. I absolutely love it.
So let's take a look at it. This is Angelion, the flying type evolution.
Dang, Angelion. Now I understand why he didn't he didn't do any other point of views, like any other angles, like a side view sitting down or laying down or whatever. Mainly because one, you have to fit the Pokemon itself, and it's pretty large. And like, as an artist, I can imagine that he did not want to keep drawing all these wings. So, that's where kind of like the laziness comes in. Not that I'm calling him lazy, but like, again, as a artists, I understand like not wanting to draw repetitive like the wings repeatedly just in different angles because they're very detailed. When you draw something that's very detailed over and over again, it gets tiring. So drawing this main one and then also drawing the top view, I bet he was like, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to draw any more like angles or anything else of this Pokemon. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And he drew the face as well, which the face is very cute. I like it. I like the very like just like chill, like this face reminds me of Espeon. That's why I really love it. The top view is amazing, just the wings and everything like that, just incredible. This is probably my favorite design so far.
Is said to be extremely elusive and tends to be found hiding in clouds. I really like how this one came out. This one
I
is
absolutely
like so
love it.
elegant and like beautiful, and I really am happy.
And I like that there isn't a ton of color. It's just white and some grays. Like honestly, that's all you need to make it look amazing, because typically you would see like a bright yellow or maybe even like a sky blue on like maybe angel related or flying related Pokemon or what have you. But I just love that he went with kind of like this like off-white, not off-white, but like a white, but it's not bright. It's not like white. It's not like the background. You see the background, how this is like white. This white is just a little bit darker than that, and it has grays and darker grays and stuff. I love
Like
this. I love this
basing
so
it off of
much.
a perfectly accurate angel. I just think that's really cool for like a flying type, especially these like giant angel wings. I just think that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, up next
Love that design.
is the ghost type evolution. Now,
Ooh.
ghost type Pokemon are really cool because they're all like spooky and scary. But you know, they're still Pokemon, so they're still cute. So I really wanted to capture that kind of like spookiness, but still cute in this evolution. And I think I did that pretty well.
So he's going the
I made
cute
some,
route with this
you know,
one.
some
Okay.
interesting design choices with this evolution, which I think turned out really cool. One of them is, instead of giving it like a big fluffy mane and fluffy tail, I made those like made out of like tentacles. Instead, this was kind of inspired from like the boar god from Princess Mononoke, because I really like how like all of those thousands of tentacles looked like moving and whirling and all that. I think that's just a really cool idea instead of just having like basic fur, because I think the ghost type, for this ghost type, I wanted it to be like more scary and icky. And I think having tentacles for fur is like a really fun way of doing that.
Interesting.
Also, instead of giving it regular ears, it's a ghost type. I wanted to do something a bit more spooky. I gave it these like weird tentacle eye things, lumps of flesh that are its ears now. I don't know if some of you will be able to tell, but these kind of shapes I use are based off like Ghost Freak from Ben 10. You know, he's a ghost and he's got the spooky energy. So I kind of used him as an inspiration for this design. And yeah, obviously it had to be purple as well, because essentially all ghost Pokemon like purple. That's like their color. Yeah, let's see how it turned out. This is Nightmarion, the ghost type.
Nightmarion. Now, I just want to mention first to get this out of the way, the name is a mouthful. Nightmarion. Could probably be a better name for that, but that aside, I really like this design. It's, for some reason I like it. Like it's weird because like the tentacle stuff, and it's like it looks weird. Now the tail design, it represents a lot of Flareon, which maybe he did use as a reference for it, but the mane on the neck is just tentacles, and then the ears. I think as a design standpoint, this is pretty good. It's an overwhelmingly large amount of tentacles, which honestly at that point he should have added tentacles like to the legs or something like that. I don't know, but honestly, this is pretty solid. This is pretty solid. Now, as a ghost type, do I see this as a ghost type? I don't know, but it's pretty good design. I like it. I don't really have anything negative to say. It's pretty good. I don't know if I would see it as a ghost type though, but it could be. I don't know.
It is said that this Pokemon has the ability to manifest a person's greatest fears. And wow, I love how this ghost
It's
type
pretty cool.
evolution turned out. It's so weird and icky and gross, but cute. And it's just so cool. I love it. I think it really captures the essence of like the ghost type
It's
Pokemon.
definitely cute, that's for sure.
Before we continue with the video, I'd like to quickly tell you about my Patreon. Currently, I've got 2 Patreon content from my videos, like all early in the credits.
Hey, get your bag,
Okay,
brother. Get your
up
bag.
next is the ground type evolution.
Ground
I've
type.
often confused like the ground type Pokemon with the rock type Pokemon, so I kind of wanted to make this Pokemon like stand out from the rock type Pokemon. So I think like the difference between rock type Pokemon and ground type Pokemon is ground type Pokemon are like they're often like good at digging. So I wanted to incorporate that in this evolution design. I found a cool way of incorporating that because I made its tail like curl up like a drill, and I think this evolution will use its tail to like drill and dig, which makes it a cool like ground type. You can also probably tell I was inspired by Cubone because I gave it like this skull mask, and I also added this like skull things on the back of it. What are those called? Like a spine. I gave it like this cool bone spine. And yeah, my general goal with this Pokemon was to make it look like it would live in like a desert or really sandy area to make it more like ground type. But yeah, let's see how it turned out.
Yeah.
This is Dustion,
I can see it.
The ground type evolution. This
Dustion. Okay. I like the name Dustion. It fits. The face, I like the face. It looks really cool. It's very cute, honestly. Just using the tail to dig. That's so cute. Sitting. Honestly, I like this design. It's on the simpler end, which I like, especially for like a ground type. Because ground type isn't really like you don't really need like an amazing design or very detailed. Really, just something simple like this, where you just take basically a normal Pokemon, and then you give it a big ass tail like a drill, some bones, and that's it. Like this honestly is a great design. I love it.
Pokemon can rotate
It
its
looks
tail
really
like
cool.
a drill in order to dig at high speeds. And yeah, I think this Pokemon looks really cool. Very much so. Like it lives in like a desert, which is definitely what I was trying to go for. And yeah. Up next is the poison type evolution. Now with this evolution, I wanted to make it look like really toxic and neon green. And
Okay.
just like at a glance, you could tell that this thing is definitely poisonous or radioactive, or you should not go near it. So yeah, some big inspirations for this design is like the really poisonous frogs and stuff. I wanted to make it look like really shiny and kind of reptilian, while also being like very radioactive and stuff. So I gave it this like cool furry mane that like glows a bright green, you know, for like to make it look radioactive and toxic and everything. I also gave it this giant reptilian tail. Frogs don't really have tails, so I guess it was kind of more inspired by just like general reptilian shapes. I don't even know what kind of creature has that kind of tail, but it's got that. It's like reptilian, very poisonous. I made it so like it seems like there's poison stored inside the tail that it could like use to spit out at you and everything. This is Blightion, the poison type evil.
Blightion. I love the face and like the mane that it has. I absolutely love it. It spits acid. The back view. I love it. I'm gonna be honest. I really like this design. Bro, this guy cooks, bro. I would say probably except for the dragon typing one. The dragon type evolution. He really cooked with this one. Like, or he's been cooking with all of them.
This Pokemon can create
so
an
far.
acidic like poison that is strong enough to melt steel. And yeah, I think this Pokemon, it looks cool. It's really radioactive,
really
and
cool,
green, and that's what I was going for. I didn't want to make it purple because purple's also like a poison type thing, but that's too associated with like ghost types and like dark types. So
and psychic
green is
too.
Good, like green and yellow is like a good poison type.
Yeah, green
color.
is a
I think it looks really poisony. That's what I was going for. Next Pokemon.
I agree. That one
Next
is amazing.
Is the rock type evolution.
Rock.
Now,
rock
my favorite kind of rock type evolutions are the ones that involve like crystals and stuff in their designs.
Yeah.
Like Yancey is one of them. I think it's really cool when rock Pokemon do this. So I really wanted to incorporate this in my evolution. So I came up with a bunch of different ideas of how this evolution could like incorporate crystals on its body somehow, like if it was its tail or if it had like crystals on its head or around its neck or stuff like that. I really liked this design. I like it so much, but I didn't end up picking this design because I think it looks too much like another Pokemon, like not like an evolution. And it's also kind of looks like a fairy type because of the colors.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do this design, but I just don't think it looked enough like an evolution. So instead, I chose this design to move forward with. Now, what's special about this design is instead of having, you know, regular fur around its neck, it's got these like rocky boulders instead. You know, obviously because it's a rock type.
Yeah.
And it's got these cool gems like on its forehead, and also like that form its like tail. Like its tail was completely made out of these gems. And yeah, let's see how the final design turned out.
Oh wow.
This is Geodeon, the rock type.
Geodeon. Perfect name. That's a perfect name, I'm gonna be honest. Great name. Wow. I really like this. First of all, great artwork for the crystals. Like the crystals look, I don't know how you do that. That looks amazing. But that tail must be heavy as heck because it's a bunch of crystals. That tail must weigh tons. But that aside, this looks amazing. I like that there's like a mute kind of like gray, dark gray, you know, rocks, right? But then there's super colorful like just crystals on the tail, or the whole tail is a bunch of crystals, and then the forehead has some crystals, and the eyes are the same like as the crystals colors. Some rock on the ears. This is amazing. I love the design.
It is said that every Geodeon grows a different kind of gem based on its personality.
Interesting.
And yeah, I'm really happy with this design.
Yeah,
I love how the gems turned out. They look so cool.
Looks really nice.
Yeah, I just think it's a really good rock type evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Up next is the steel type evolution.
Well, hold on. Let me actually say something about this real quick. You could actually see this as a fairy type, as a rock fairy type, which I'm pretty sure that exists already, like a Pokemon with that typing. But this could definitely be a rock fairy type. Honestly, just based off of the colors of the rocks, of the crystals, I mean.
Based on its personality. So cool. And yeah, I just think it's a really good rock type evolution. Up next is the steel type evolution. Now, when designing this, I had a really clear idea of what I wanted to do. I just wanted this to be like an evolution completely made out of metal. That's what
basically, yeah.
Like, a big inspiration behind this is like Colossus from X-Men. Like that whole thing of just like being completely made of metal. I really like the texture like they designed him with. Also, another inspiration is Melmetal, the Pokemon. I really like how it's designed and how the metals are rendered. So there was a big inspiration behind this. I didn't want this Pokemon to be just that basic, that its only thing has been made out of metal. So I also gave it like this gear, like around its neck.
Okay.
Because I think that's like a cool thing for like the steel types. I'm pretty sure some steel type Pokemon have like gears around them. And that like kind of suits the theme. So yeah, let's see how it turned out. This is Gearion, the steel type evolution. This Pokemon is able to
Gearion. Interesting.
Bend metal.
It definitely looks like a robot. Most definitely. The coloring is pretty good on this. The gear itself. Now, I think this is a good design overall. The only thing that kind of throws me off is the gear. Even though that's supposed to be the main kind of like, you know, it's a metal type, so it's gonna have a gear. But it's just, I feel like the gear doesn't make, like, it makes sense. In retrospect, it makes sense because it's a metal type. Other metal types have gears and stuff, so he added the gear. But to be completely honest, I don't really think it makes sense, especially with this design. Perhaps there could have been something else that he could have put around the neck if he really wanted to. But yeah, and then I feel like the tail could have been something different as well. Because this honestly just looks like a Flareon tail, but black. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say this design is on the weaker end. You know, it's magnetic. Has magnetic powers. That's cool. Side view. Yeah, the gear doesn't really make much sense. Like, why does it have a gear? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's metal, yeah, but like, why would it have a gear? And the tail, the design of the tail is just a Flareon tail, but black, just like I said. But other than those two things, the whole design of Gearion itself is amazing. I love that it looks metallic. Honestly, I think if he wouldn't draw the gear, take out the gear, and just like this, it's gonna be one of those like really cool simple Pokemon, just like Umbreon. Bro, Umbreon's design is just so simple. It's just literally black with just some yellow circles. That's it. And same thing with Espeon. As much as I love Espeon, the design is very basic. It's literally one color, and then it has the ears to the side, some little stuff underneath the ears, and a gem on its forehead, and that's about it. So I feel like with this Pokemon, it would have been okay for it to be on the simpler end. So take out the gear, and maybe change up the tail a little bit, and then it would have been perfect. But
its will by using
I would say overall
abilities.
this design is a little bit on the
yeah,
weaker
I
end.
think it's for everyone. It looks really cool. Like a steel type evolution, I really like how it's just completely made of metal.
The base is
Rendering
still
metal's
cool
just
though.
Cool.
I
It just looks cool, alright?
I would rather
And the
mention
gear
that.
and the gear around its neck instead of like fur. That's cool. So yeah. And finally, the normal type evolution. Now for the normal type, I really just want it to look like an evolved Eevee. I guess all of these are like evolved Eevees, but I mean like a grown-up Eevee, because Eevee's already a normal type, so I didn't want to make any like big changes to evolving into another normal type. I kind of wanted to just make it look like it grew up, like Eevee grew up, like Eevee's big. A big inspiration behind this design is just like dogs. I wanted it to look very dog-like, like kind of like a golden retriever, I guess. Yeah, I'd say golden retriever is like a big inspiration behind this. But yeah, I think it turned out really cool. So let's take a look. This is Eeveelution, the normal type evolution. This Pokemon loves to play and has a strong sense of loyalty to
Eeveelution. Let's see. I think the reason why there is no like normal type evolution is because Eevee is already normal type, and so it wouldn't really make sense for them to make a normal type evolution, because the basic evolution is already normal, or the basic Pokemon is already normal, so it wouldn't really make sense to have a normal type evolution, I think. But at the same time, by technicality, it's still a typing, like it still doesn't have that typing for an evolution technically, so at the same time it would kind of make sense to have a normal type evolution. I don't know, but just compared to Eevee, because you can see Eevee up here in the top left corner, like the eyes, the tail for Eevee is very like fluffy. It's like more round for the tail, right? And then the ears are more like on the sides, kind of, not on the top like this. And has little stubby legs. And then the kind of like the mane of it is like just around the neck, very floofy, puffy. Then we come in and we see Eeveelution here. The ears are just up straight instead of like kind of more towards the sides. He actually has, the Pokemon has more of a snout instead of like a bit more flat faced. The mane is not necessarily puffy anymore. It's more just like it like droops down. The tail is not puffy anymore. It's just like a normal dog tail, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of the tail, I guess. Oh, everything else is kind of like again, it's a normal type, so it's not supposed to be anything crazy. So I feel like everything else is pretty okay. It's still weird to see a snout like this, because I feel like, because look, you see this looks like an Eeveelution right here. This looks like an Eeveelution right here. This looks like an Eeveelution right here. Like, you notice how every single one, the snout isn't really like a snout. It is still a snout, but it's short. It's short snouted. See, it's very like minimal. See, very, almost cat-like, if anything. But then if we go back, like, see, very short. But if we go back to this one, like, it doesn't seem like an evolution. It seems like it turned into a dog, which I don't know if Eevee is a dog. It's supposed to be a dog, but I mean, it just doesn't look like an evolution. Now, credit to this artist, to this creator. The design is good. Like the art of it is amazing, but for it to be an evolution, this is probably the worst one on this list. Because look at how long the snout is. He took a reference from like dogs, and he really emphasized this to be a dog, not a like evolution. Because again, I don't know, the snout it throws me off a lot. The snout and the tail is kind of like, I mean, again, the tail isn't that big of a deal, just a nitpick on my part, just because, you know, Eevee's tail was round and floofy and like, you know, and then this is just kind of like a normal tail. So that's just a nitpick. But this is probably what should be changed, is the whole how the face looks, more specifically the snout and the mouth area. But everything else, although the ears are more pointed upwards, I feel like that's cool. The body is cool. The mane, everything else looks fine. Just the snout for me is kind of weird.
For a normal type evolution, this is perfect. This is what I would want. I would just want it to look like a really cool, like grown-up Eevee. I think it looks really cute and, you know, very cool. And yeah, that's every single Pokemon type that doesn't have an evolution. I've designed evolutions for all of them. If you guys have like a favorite, or there's any you particularly like or would like actually want to see in like a Pokemon game, let me know. I think personally, I really
the flying type is probably my favorite one out of this whole thing.
Nightmarion and also Thrashion. Those are just like,
yeah, Thrashion was also really cool. Bro, I'm telling you, this guy cooked.
Two of my favorites.
He
from this
cooked
bunch. I think
on every single one
really well, and I'd actually love to see them as.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Subscribe to this guy, and yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.